Hey, everybody. Great to have you with us, and welcome to the Jim Masters Show live worldwide. We're simulcasting right now on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and also on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. We hope you had a beautiful day wherever you are around the world. We got comments coming in already. That's terrific. Just wanted to thank you personally for making us a part of your day. We are now in week number 5, week number 6 of the Jim Masters Show live. Again, many of you know I do television and radio hosting, and I'm an actor, journalist, writer, producer, stage host, MC, you name it. And I've done that for many years, nationally, regionally, and locally, and international work as well. And about 6 weeks ago, we created the Jim Masters Show live, since hosting is one of the main things that I do. And so many of you from around the world have just responded so beautifully. We appreciate all the comments and all the Facebook messages, the YouTube comments as well. We encourage you to go to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Check it out. All of the episodes of the Jim Masters Show live are right there for you. We've had some amazing guests from film and television and music and food and spiritual people, inspirational people, authors, scientists, doctors, just about every genre you can think of. Lots of levity too, comedians. That's what the show is all about. It's about light, levity, and love, the Jim Masters Show live. And we're here every single night. I did sign up for that, right? Every single night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And again, we simulcast on YouTube and Facebook concurrently at Jim Masters TV. So feel free to go to the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. You can click on the notification bell. That'll keep you updated on all the different broadcasts of the Jim Masters Show live. All of the previous episodes are there for you. Plus, I also post some other things, some positive masters mantras that I did for years on Facebook, still do on Facebook, and so many people wanted me to expand on that. So those are uploaded on the Facebook, but also uploaded on the YouTube channel as videos. So you can check that out on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. So how is you can also find me at Instagram too, Instagram at Jim Masters TV, and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. We are literally booked with guests the entire month of June. We're already going into July. We even have several dates in the beginning, in the middle, end of July with amazing guests who are with us here on the Jim Masters Show live. And it's absolutely amazing. We do great guests. We do all kinds of great fun segments too. We even take you on location. If you go back in the archives, over the course of the weekend, we took you to the Brady Bunch house in North Hollywood, California. We took you to the house where the TV series Family, what the exterior shots were used. That's in Pasadena. Family, of course, was with Christy McNichol and Seda Thompson and James Broderick and Meredith Baxter Burney and Gary Frank and Quinn Cummings. That was an Aaron Spelling production, and that was used for a lot of other movies too. That beautiful house that really exists in Pasadena. We took you to Malibu, LA. Then we took you on the following show to the Netherlands. We took you to Europe, which was cool, Amsterdam and Utrecht and Zenhout and more. And then we also took you to Colorado, to Red Rocks and Denver and the Colorado Music Hall of Fame and so much more. Last night, great guest. Encourage you to go back. TV comedy writer and producer and showrunner for The Simpsons, as well as co-creator of The Critic and so many other projects. Mike Reese was my special guest last night for an exclusive conversation. And it was amazing. If you want to see that interview with Mike Reiss, again, he's one of the founding people of The Simpsons and, of course, co-creator of The Critic, which starred John Lovitz, those fabulous animated series that have become legendary. That interview is available at Jim Masters TV at YouTube. Tomorrow night, my special guest is award-winning actor and musician and singer Paul Green. Yes, if you watch Hallmark, you have seen him. They've called him the Cary Grant of Hallmark. He is extraordinary. He's a personal friend. We've worked together at Carnegie Hall with great holiday concerts that composer Tim Janis has presented. Paul Green will be with me tomorrow. He's also going to perform. We're going to have some songs. We're going to have some levity, some great conversation. He's all excited about it. And again, if you just Google his name, you'll see all these incredible things. He's originally from Canada, and he makes his home here in the United States. And he's been in so many different television projects, movies, and so much more. And he's a great singer and musician, guitarist. And again, if you watch Hallmark, especially at holiday time, he's in most of the Hallmark movies, is one of their lead actors in the Hallmark movies. He's here tomorrow night. Then we've got a very special presentation. We're going to take you to California for a special interview I did with Buffy Ford Stewart. Buffy Ford Stewart is a legendary singer and songwriter. She's also a children's book author. She's a beautiful person inside and out. Her husband was Jon Stewart. He was a prolific singer-songwriter, one of the founding members of the Kingston Trio, and he penned the song Daydream Believer that the Monkees and Davy Jones made famous. He also worked with, he was a good friend of John Denver, great friend of the Kennedys as well, and performed on their campaign for the Kennedys, for Robert specifically. We got an opportunity to actually go to Buffy and John's home just north of San Francisco. John unfortunately passed away in 2008. However, Buffy still sings and still performs. She writes children's books. She has a wonderful, loving family. And she opened up her entire home to us. And we filmed for about 10 hours at her home. And we're so excited to present this. She's going to be in a few weeks from now. She's also going to be with us live as a special guest, updating us further on some exciting things that are happening. That'll be coming up as well. Buffy Ford Stewart will be with us live. But on Thursday night, we're going to have a very special presentation. It's almost like a documentary that we did on location. She opens up her entire home to us. We see the gold records. We see John's Grammy. Her friends are cooking all kinds of food for the crew and myself. And it was really, really a terrific, terrific opportunity. We sat on her beautiful white couches with her dog Lucy next to her. And she really opens up and gets quite emotional about her life, too. And her continued journey. She's working on a major motion picture about Jon Stewart's life. And she's just a beautiful, beautiful, deep, loving person inside and out. She's going to be spotlighted Thursday right here on the show. And then Friday, the award-winning and legendary Dr. Bernie Siegel, author of so many incredible books, empowering, inspiring books too. He's done several public television specials. Matter of fact, I interviewed him on PBS a few years back. That's where we initially met, and we developed our friendship. He's going to be with us live. He can answer questions. He's going to be talking about how to deal with so many different things we deal with in life. He's a really cool guy. He's a straight shooter. He's a tremendous person, and his grandson, Charlie, is going to also be joining us as well, because Charlie just wrote a book too, and they're going to be our guests on Friday. I tell you, we have Rita Cosby, legendary journalist and newswoman Rita Cosby is going to be joining us here on the show. Tremendous actor Denny Bolero is going to be joining us on the show. I mean, it's extraordinary. So a lot of great guests coming up. We welcome you all. I hope your day is going well. This is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series that's on every single night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and also on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And guess who I am? I'm your host, Jim Masters. So we have a standard way that we open the show and we welcome everybody. Again, it's about light, levity, and love. So we do a toast. And if you have a glass of anything with you, I encourage you to toast with us. And we toast you and you and you and you and you and you and you. And tonight we just got some, it's a combination of iced tea and lemonade. Sometimes we have wine, sometimes we've had bourbon, sometimes we've had Bailey's, we've had all kinds of different things. Tonight we're going to go, because it was pretty warm out here in the northeastern United States, high temperatures in the upper 80s, low 90s. But say that to somebody in Texas or that lives in Brazil, and they're probably like 80s, 90s. That's cool for us. But pretty steamy up here. Beautiful day today. So I salute you all. And as always, your cast of characters are here. Again, for those of you just joining us, we see a lot of new faces today. We did a nostalgic show a couple of weeks ago, and our audience voted to have these characters with us on every show to join me. So this is sort of my Ed McMahon, my sidekick. This is George Burns. You see a cigar and his glasses. So George sees all of you watching right now from around the world. He greets you as well. By the way, we have a special guest tonight, and there he is. He'll be joining us. That's actually a screenshot from one of the great productions he's been in, television and film, veteran actor, commercial actor, and more. Dwight Turner is joining me in just a moment. As always, Jeannie is here in her bottle. She still has yet to come out. Again, she hasn't been able to get her hair done, so she's a little upset. You doing all right in there? Yes, master. All right. We always check with her, but maybe if you look in, maybe you can see her. This is the authentic I Dream of Jeannie bottle, actually hand painted. The thing weighs a ton. It was a gift. So we got George and Jeannie over here, and George always volunteers to keep an eye on Jeannie for some reason. And as always, we've got a couple of other cast characters here. Again, we all need to smile. We all need some light and levity, right? We need some smiles, bottom line. And here's one that'll put a smile on your face. There's from a TV shoot I was on in Europe from Switzerland. There is your friend, sort of our mascot, the canine, Silver. Perfect name, right? Silver's here for you as well. Again, these are for all the regulars that always ask about George and Jeannie and Silver. And of course, one last one. Now, if this does not put a smile on your face and you had a rough day or the last couple of months have really hit you hard, hopefully that does something for you. Not just this face, but this face. And this is Jimmy. Jimmy says hello. It's a childhood toy my parents gave me way back, and all porcelain. Cute feet, huh? So Jimmy says hello. And as always, you know, we go Hollywood on this show. I do work in the industry, so we got to go Hollywood with everything here. It's amazing. I don't knock anything over, huh? That may come one of these days. A little lights, camera, and action. There you go. So now we are officially starting the Jim Masters Show live. So I hope you had a great day. Let us know. Feel free to comment on the YouTube channel. You can certainly do that at Jim Masters TV, and also on Facebook as well at Jim Masters TV. And we have some folks here that are saying hello. Usually the regulars always say hello. Christopher says, Dwight Turner. Yes, absolutely. He's a dear friend, and I'm so happy he's joining us on the show. Eileen Barker, who's in Australia, is watching us. Hello, Eileen. It's wonderful to have you here. Renee Katz. Good to see you, Renee, as well. Can't wait to talk to you soon. Happy 6 weeks. That's right, our 6th week of the Jim Masters Show live. Again, we put it together 6 weeks ago. I usually do this for a living, but doing this right now for you and loving it. And it's growing. I got some exciting things I'll be telling you soon that are happening with this broadcast. The outpouring of support and love, and so many people just really rolling up their sleeves and wanting to be a part of it. It's just blown my mind. Hi, Jim. On location shows and guests have been great. Thank you, Marianne Kelly. She's in New Jersey, USA. And let's see. Eileen says it's a chilly morning. Wow, 6 Celsius. Yeah, beginning winter there in Australia. Kathleen Walker, who's in New York City, says, hi, Jim. Hi, everyone. We say hello to you. Christine Fairwood, who was our exclusive viewer of the week this past weekend. We congratulate her. Hello, Jim. Hello, all. We welcome you as well. Yes, in the glass tonight is some refreshing iced tea lemonade. And Christine has a vodka tonic. Not bad. Christopher, cool George Burns doll. Absolutely. And first-time viewer, welcome. Sarah Turner Holland. So wonderful to have you here, Sarah. A pleasure. Welcome to the show. We're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with light, levity, and love, and all kinds of great segments. Every show is something different, great guests, and so much more. And let's see. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Good to see you, Ken. great to see you as well, my friend. Ken is in upstate New York or Wappingers Falls area. Good guy. Eileen Barker says hello to everybody. And, great. We have Michael Schwab, Lexington, Kent. Wow, it's terrific to have you here as well, Michael. We bid you a welcome, and it's a pleasure to have you here on the show live. We have so many people that watch this show from around the world, and it really is a pleasure. And more new people. How do you have that happen? You share the links. You spread the word. You tell one another. You tell your friends. If you are on YouTube, tell your friends on YouTube. If you're on Instagram or Twitter, I'm at Jim Masters TV. Facebook at Jim Masters TV. Share the links. Have watch parties. Let's make it one big happy party and happy family. Again, we'll continue to grow, but we will grow together. Again, as you know, as you can see, I'm very interactive. I love viewer interaction. I love to feed off the energy of others and then give it back tenfold. So very happy to have you here. Thank you, Mike, that Kentucky. Great to have you here. So we got a lot of great people here. And again, comments are coming in. So let me tell you about that fine gentleman that is behind me there. And that's a cool shot. He's like in just about ready to have something amazing happen in one of these productions he was in. Television, film, I'm sure you've seen him in commercials. We met at a party of a dear friend, Reaver Solomon. It was a birthday party in Manhattan. I believe we were at Ron Abel's apartment, and Ron was there, and Michael Stern was there, Reaver was there. Was Lucy Arnaz there? I don't remember if Lucy was there or not. Sometimes she is, but all great people, great friends. And hello, cuz, Dwight Turner. Jeffrey Rich is here as well. Jeffrey, welcome to the show. It is good to have you with us. And Christopher says, Jim Masters International. With my professional work, yes, but we will see. Well, we're already international, I guess you can say, with this show, with so many people around the world who are joining us. But we welcome you. And again, I'm going to introduce my very special guest right now. We've been chatting before we went live on air with the broadcast. He's really a tremendous person, and he's just really, really cool. Let me show you some, we have actually some clips we're going to show you too, but I love this shot. We used this in the promo when we were promoting the broadcast. That's a great shot. And we're going to go over some of these as well in terms of, the various things that he's doing and just the various scenes. Yeah, that's a commercial. Can you see him way in the back there at the stove? There's another great shot. Again, I'm sure you've seen Dwight in various productions. He's got a brilliant range too. He can do comedy, he can do drama, he can do thriller. And I believe this is a scene from Chicago on NBC and so much more. That's a great shot too. Again, these are all from various productions, and we will talk about these productions during the course of the actual broadcast. Look at that one. That's a cool shot as well. Again, we'll talk about all these in just a moment. Just wanted to give you an indication in case you are trying to place him. You will absolutely be able to place him, especially when I start telling you about some of his extraordinary background. He's an accomplished and multifaceted actor showing versatility in both drama and comedy. He has performed in award-winning movies, television shows, and commercials. Dwight co-starred as Dr. Mayberry on Chicago Fire for NBC, acting opposite Yuri Sadarov, Otis. He guest starred as Detective Michael Zack on Murder Comes to Town, Detective Doug Niemeyer on Evil Talks, Chilling Confessions, Sergeant Stephen Showers on Fatal Attraction, and as Lenny on 1,000 Ways to Die. Dwight played series regular Nathan on Bear Torres, which was picked up by Japanese TV, and the recurring role of Sheriff James Norton on The Pact. He played a supporting role as Dr. Rubenstein in the TV movie RX and co-starred as the Bridgewater police chief on Betrayed. Dwight also guest starred on the pilot for a new series with Mike Rowe. Dwight also played a supporting role in the feature film The Deported, acting opposite Nick Turturro and Talia Shire. He also played lead roles as Alexander Sly in the feature film Gradation, as Jason Topper in the movie The Gestapo versus Granny, which was a finalist for HBO's Project Greenlight, as well as Brent Steelmoney in Out Sorcery, which premiered at Comic-Con and garnered a Best Humor Film nomination. Also as Ray Foley in the movie The Wallet, as Dale in the movie Step Motion Step, as Stuart Spencer in the movie The Spirit of 76, and as Ray in the movie Semblance. Dwight voiced a lead role as Green Lantern in DC Comics Superheroes Live for Six Flags. He was also the voice of the Doctor for WebMD MedSims. Really cool. And that's just the short list, folks. I could go on and on. There's so much more that he's done, and he's working on a lot of cool projects as we speak. Of course, we've been dealing with slower times right now, but he's got his hands in so many different things. And again, it's a real pleasure to take a moment to welcome him to our broadcast. So let's do that right now. Our very special friend, award-winning television, film, and commercial actor, Dwight Turner. Dwight, there you are. It's great to have you with us, and welcome.
Well, thank you, Jim. It's really nice of you to have me on your show. And wow, after that introduction, I feel like I want to meet me. You're really good at that.
Well, thank you. We did our research. Our crack team did our homework. And again, you and I have had conversations, socially. And one thing that I like is you and I are very supportive of each other's works. We're following, we're liking, we're rooting
Absolutely.
each other on in our respective and collaborative fields, which is great, right? It's great when creatives can do that.
I agree 100%. And, you're talented, so it's always a pleasure to follow what you're doing. And, in a situation like this, you just never know what might happen. I mean, we met at that fantastic birthday party in Manhattan. And, and who, with the work that I do and with the industry that I'm in, sometimes you just never know. So here we are a couple of years later, boom.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. So let's go back a little bit in time. I know I've talked about projects over the recent years, but when did that acting bug first bite for you? Were you initially always a child actor, meaning that you were the kid in the family that always wanted to perform and entertain the family? Tell us about those early years for you.
So, first of all, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And I know a lot of people say they grew up in the middle of nowhere, but I really did. I grew up in a tiny little town called Hazard, Kentucky, in southeastern Kentucky in the mountains. A beautiful area, a beautiful way to grow up, but very isolated. And I grew up talking like this because it's how everybody talked in the area. So I can obviously still do that, but I generally don't use it in my acting. But I did do a part last year, which we can talk about a little bit later, where I finally got to use that accent. I think, I remember being a small child, and there was a local television program where they played music and they sang and I remember asking my dad, and my mom still remembers this, we talk about from time to time. I asked my dad how much I had to pay to get to be on that show and do that. So I did. And then when I found out, well, no, you get paid for doing that. And I was like, wow, okay.
Kind of like
and
it.
I think that's kind of where the bug started. I went to church as a kid. I did church plays. I did school plays. But I always knew, Jim, that I wanted to be an actor. At a very young age, I didn't really know how, because I was in an area where, you far away from Hollywood. I just knew that I wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. So when I went to school, I got a degree in communications with the radio and television emphasis. I studied being a reporter, but I knew when I finished college that I wanted to move to LA.
And now live, here's Dwight Turner on the scene with his companion Drew. Drew on sports.
Drew, you're fired.
That actually would have been a good name, right? Drew Turner, your
Drew
stage
Turner,
name.
yeah.
Eyewitness News.
And speaking of names, it's like I got Dwight, and there are not that many of us, so it's always fun to meet another Dwight out there.
Yeah.
So I did not start acting professionally until I moved to LA.
Right.
And
what was that like when you decided to leave home and hearth and family and friends in Kentucky to make that jump to LA? Because it's either LA or New York. Gosh. What was the family reaction? And were you nervous?
No, I was excited. My mom, like, lots of tears. My dad was worried. I mean, they thought it was going to be the end of me. They thought, you know, this is the end. We're never going to see him again. This is the end of our son. And I moved out to LA with someone that I knew that I went to college with, who also wanted to move to LA. We thought we could move out, share expenses. The agreement was, no matter what, we would stay for a year, no matter what. He lasted a month, and he moved back to. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And so I couldn't afford at that time, the full rent of the place that we were staying by myself. And so I got a guest room. And this is where things started to pick up. I got a guest room in a fantastic home in the Hollywood Hills, 2 doors from Bruce Springsteen.
Not a bad zip code or address or location to be at, Dwight.
Yeah, on Fairholme Drive. And so, you know, I became friends with some actors in the area. I started a class. I went to a friend's birthday party. A guy came up to me at the birthday party. It was his agent. I didn't realize that when I first started talking to him. And he said, "Are you an actor?" And I said, "Yeah." And he gave me his card. I went to see him that Wednesday. He signed me. I went on my first ever professional audition, and I booked it. And I landed a national commercial. And got my SAG-AFTRA card right away.
Do you remember what the commercial was?
I do. It was for Black Star Beer. Wow. And you know, I remember at the time thinking, oh my gosh, this is so easy. And of course, you know, we realize that it's all not that easy, and there are ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
It's that kind of career. But it was a good way to get started.
Absolutely. Did you have to drink the beer or?
Oh my gosh, I remember the scene very well. We shot on the back lot of Universal, and they were doing the idea of the commercial was the history of Black Star Beer. And so they had me paired up with a lady who looked very much like Lucy. And we were the husband and wife with the baby in the stroller, and waving as the Black Star beer truck went by.
Middle America, basically. Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. Very middle America.
So what happened from there? I mean, obviously you got booked right away, which is exceptional and rare sometimes too. Tell us the steps that happened from there, Dwight.
Well, from there, you know, you realize that it's all not that easy.
Right.
And so I went on to do various projects. Someone had told me that, you know, UCLA, which is a good film school, you go down there and there's a board. And this was a little bit before it all went to online. And you go down to that board, and the students will be listing all of their projects with the phone numbers, and you can contact them and see about getting into their projects. And so I did that. And I think to this day, I probably am close to having the record for the number of UCLA projects, because I did quite a lot for them. I also did some projects for, I'm sorry, I said UCLA, USC. Also did some projects for UCLA and for Chapman, some of the other schools in the area, and enjoyed it very much. And I think that really helped me learn a lot about the process. I mean, after doing a number of student projects, I feel like I'm prepared for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, and of course on a professional set, like, you know, you mentioned Chicago Fire earlier, you know, with a set like that, everything is like clockwork and everyone knows exactly what they're doing, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And that just, you know, that's icing on the cake. That just makes it really easy.
So when you look at all of this, what would you consider the big break? Was it the beer commercial, or was there something else that really catapulted you into these upper levels of having the opportunity to be on something like Chicago Fire on NBC and things of that nature?
Well, I honestly think that my first real break was that very first thing I ever auditioned for, which was that commercial, because what that did was it got me my SAG card. Now it's SAG-AFTRA, but it got me my SAG card. So immediately I was able to go into union productions. And, you know, I am very thankful for that, because, you know, that could have, who knows how long that could have taken. So I was at the right spot at the right time, and it just all fit and worked out.
Mm. So take us through the development of your craft in terms of how you developed as an actor, because you have this wonderful ability to do drama, to do comedy, to do really whatever they throw at you, which
Yeah.
isn't always the case for everybody. So tell us about how that developed, and how through all of these incredible projects, you've been able to really share that with everybody.
You know, I remember years ago, I remember people telling me, like, you need to pick drama or comedy. You
Yeah.
need to concentrate on your bullseye or what you, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
no, because I had fun with both. And to me, that's one of the ultimate things to consider there. Do you enjoy doing comedy? If you don't, there's no reason to do it, because comedy can be tougher than drama.
That's what everybody says. Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
everybody says.
yeah, and or, you know, the opposite. If you don't like drama, then hey, stick with comedy. I love both, and so, you know, to me, they're very different. Um, and I have a different mindset when I do them. I've gotten to study with some really nice people that have helped me develop, you know, my acting skills and where I am today. Um, you know, Nina Foch, I studied with her years ago,
Mm,
before, you know, she passed away on
right.
Rodeo, and she was one of my first teachers. And I still remember I went in and scared to death, because, you know, here's this lady that I've seen in movies, and very grand, and her house was amazing, and I go in to audition for her, and I did a scene from Excalibur. and
That's a,
and and I, you know, at the end, I had no idea, like, you know, what was going to happen, if she was going to take me or not. She did. She
mm,
was very intense. I remember she would, you know, really put people through their paces in class, and I think that was good for me. And so I think she got me on the right track.
mhm.
Um, I also, two other people in particular that I've worked with that I felt really made a difference in my acting. Donna Morong, who is also a casting director,
Right.
and Margie Haber, who has taught a lot of very well-known actors.
Mm,
Um, you know, from Donna's class, two people that I know have become famous, and it's always interesting to see that happen. One is Katrina Balfe,
mhm.
who stars in Outlander,
Right.
and among many other things, and she's doing fantastic. And the other is Clayne Crawford, who was starring in the Lethal Weapon series, until unfortunately he had an issue with Warner, and they let him go.
Right.
But it was very interesting to see that happen for both of them. But
Mhm.
Donna, I felt, taught me a lot. Margie as well, Nina as well. Yeah, and you know, I feel in the industry that I'm in, it's important to also to watch a lot of good movies and to see what people are doing.
Who are some of the people that you always admired and maybe still admire? Could be, those who are no longer with us, those who are currently. Oh, Meryl Streep, yeah, right at the top of the list.
I love her. She's at the top of my list. One of the reasons I love her so much is, and I actually got to talk to her one time, and it was hilarious because I confused her. I said, how did you become such a chameleon?
Right.
And she thought that I said comedian. And so she's like trying to figure out how to answer like the comedy side of things. And this someone else who was there said, no, chameleon. And she said, when I was little, I watched my grandmother. Like I would just watch what she did, and I started to emulate that, and then I started to emulate other people and watch other people. And
that's right. It's the best way to do it.
Good at it. But Meryl would be at the top of my list. I also, I like, like Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. I like what they do, the type of roles that they play.
Who was always one of my favorites? Jack Lemmon.
Oh, I love Jack Lemmon. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Jack Lemmon, fantastic. Tony Randall. Ian McKellen. I think he does fantastic work. And, there are just so many. And whenever I get the chance to talk to anyone of that caliber, I always love to, if it's not intruding, to kind of ask or try to find out, like what their process is. And it's really interesting with some people. They just, it's just, they're in the moment.
It's effortless. It's automatic. Right.
Yeah. And I know with my acting, I tend to do that somewhat. I put the work in, but what I found for me is I can't be too much in my head when I'm actually in it. Like you've got to put in the work, but then you got to let it go.
Right.
Because if you're in your head, if I'm in my head, then that pulls me back from it. So I do the work, I put all that work in, and then when I am actually acting, I let it go and boom, let it happen.
Right. You become the character and not Dwight playing the character. You're not thinking about, I got to, pay taxes tomorrow and get the oil changed in the car and pick up the bread and milk Thursday and do all of that stuff. You got to lose all that and just
exactly. I mean, you've got to let.
Have there been a lot of times actors and actresses will say sometimes there's a part that they take on where they're so immersed in it that they don't only take it on, but sometimes it totally consumes them, and they can't seem to break from it. They're so consumed by that role and that character and whatever the storyline is, especially if it's one of those, true story type of situations. But have there been any roles that you've done where that you've been a part of, Dwight, where it really totally took you over and encompassed you from head to toe?
Yeah, I do not feel like Dwight when I'm playing a role. I feel like that person. But as soon as that role ends, I let it go. I let it go because then I'm on to the next thing. Yeah. And it's the same way with auditions. Of course, you don't have as much time with auditions, but you have to let it go, because if I didn't, I would just be holding on to that, and that would affect the next thing. But yeah, when I am in it, let's say if the character is, has a lot of anger or frustration or fear. I mean, you for me, in order to really be there and really play that, you have got to be there. You've got to be feeling that within the realms of the character, and within the realms of knowing that you're doing a performance, you're on set,
right?
But you want to feel what's happening. You want to be that character at that moment.
And do you tap in? Some people say they, in order to be able to express certain emotions in, again, whether it's comedy or drama, Um, to get to that point of really relating to the character in a humanistic level and a deep emotional level, they sometimes call upon some of their own experiences and their own lives, whether it was a joyous time or the loss of a loved one or whatever it may be, to be able to then tap into that emotion, and make a connection with that character and what the character is going through with experiences they've gone through in their own life. Do you find that happening for you as well?
To a certain extent, let's, and I'm just going to give an example here. Okay, this, oh my gosh, this would be like a shocking example, but for instance, if I were playing a role and there is a car accident and someone that I know was killed in that car accident. So obviously that's a very shocking, very terrible thing. I would, in preparation for that role, feel maybe go back to situations of where I have lost someone or I saw something happen or so, and kind of bring all those into it. And there's a point of where it will just click for the role. And when I am actually playing that role, I'm not thinking about those things. I'm thinking as the character of, oh my gosh, this is happening, for that moment. And trying to make that as real for myself and for the scene as possible. And then when it's done, let it go.
Mm. Right, exactly. And is that something that was learned, or were you always able to do that, to detach?
I think that that's just my process. And as I've studied with different people, or as I played different roles and worked with different directors and different productions, I think I've fine-tuned things over time, changed some things. The actor's toolbox, you take things from different places.
Right.
But I feel that even going back years ago, like my process is still similar, but just with different tools from the toolbox, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Anne here says Dwight is a gift to us at SAG-AFTRA Nashville. Getting
Oh,
some
well,
love.
thank you, Anne.
Mm-hmm. Cav says, hi, Dwight, which is wonderful.
Cav.
We welcome Cav. We welcome Anne to the show as well. And Anne also says, Annie and Randy Dorman in Nashville, Tennessee at Scenic Ridge Records and Studios, good friends with Dwight. It's good to see Annie and Randy here on the show.
They were very welcoming when I came back to Kentucky. So,
you saw that, huh?
Much, Anne.
Eileen in Australia says hello. She's watching on YouTube.
Eileen.
Yeah. So that's wonderful too. Yeah. And that's when you get feedback like that. It's, it's very heartwarming too. And she also says, glad you're talking about training, which is really important because there might be some actors who are watching right now, or, those who are coming up the ranks, actors and actresses who are listening to what you're talking about and some of the work that goes in. Larry Sherman says hello. Hey, you too.
Well, hello, Larry.
Good to see you, Larry. Another friend that we have here. And Christopher Joseph says, love your analogy of your acting ideas and methods. And says, love your comments about turning the feelings up. Exactly. Dwight is, I'm also a teacher and coach, and that is first on the list, turning up the feelings, emotional recall. Right. That's exactly what we were talking about, because I would imagine, even whatever acting that I have done, I found that sometimes what you're experiencing as far as what the role commands you to do triggers things and memories in your own life as well. Maybe you didn't set out for that to happen, but it triggers things that have happened in your life, which then you can, and then staying in the moment is number 2, as she says as well. Mm-hmm. Mary Ryan says hello from Trumbull, Connecticut. She says hello.
Oh, wow. Hello, Mary.
June asks, do you have a favorite role?
Yes,
June is the lyricist in New York.
I do have a favorite role. I think my favorite personal role was playing Dr. Mayberry on Chicago Fire, because it was a fantastic day. It
Yeah.
was a lot of fun. I mean, from beginning to end, like Claire Simon casting, they were fantastic. I just really enjoyed it, and it's probably, you know, I get recognized for different things, but I probably have been recognized from that more than just about anything else, because you know it's a very popular show, NBC, and and what's really interesting too is I've actually gotten recognition from actual firemen who
Mm.
have come up to me and watched the show, and they were like, and I probably shouldn't tell this, but I will. I once talked my way out of a ticket.
You did.
I did.
Wow. What's
Um,
the secret? Well, you can tell me off air.
okay.
if
Well,
that were to ever happen, right?
well, I'll tell you really quick. I went. This was when I was coming back from the audition, where I had just found out that I booked it, and
Mm,
I was on the phone with a friend
right.
in the car, and I wasn't really paying attention, and I was driving through. It was at night on my way back. I was driving down from Chicago back to Kentucky, and I got pulled over. And the guy said, you know, I've been following you for 7 miles, and you were going over the speed limit in a construction area. And there was no construction going on at the time,
Mhm.
though. And I said, well, I said, sorry, officer. I said, I was just so excited. I was on the phone with a friend. I just auditioned for Chicago Fire, and I booked it. And I was just so excited. And he said, you did what? And I said, I just auditioned for Chicago Fire. My agent just called and I booked it. And he's like, that's my favorite show. And
Mhm.
so he took my license back, and he said, you know, is this your car and all that? And he took my license back, ran it, came back, and he said, okay. And he said, I'm just going to give you a warning. He goes, I better see you on that show. And then, you know, I bet he was
That's right.
watching at
He'll
some
be
point.
waiting
He was
for
like,
you.
there he is.
And did you follow up and say I'm on Thursday night at on Channel 4? No.
No, I was just happy to get away without getting a ticket.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the things, you know, in this illustrious career that you've had and continue to have, Dwight, that really stand out for you? Any things about acting and the acting process and the industry that have surprised you, that stand out for you, that you maybe are able to pass on to others in terms of mentorship?
Well, it is a wonderful family and
Yeah.
a wonderful way to work, if you love it. Because, as you know, Jim, there are no guarantees in this industry.
We know
And,
that for
you
sure,
know,
right?
yeah, I've been able to become a working actor, but you got to really love it, and I do. Um, there are a lot of wonderful people in this industry, like yourself. You know, I meet people all the time, like Ann down in Nashville. She's on the board of SAG-AFTRA down there. SAG-AFTRA at Nashville has been so nice to me. Um, it's been, you know, a real joy for me to be a part of this industry. So, you know, I would say for, you know, anyone out there who is thinking of doing this,
Yeah.
to, you know, give it a try.
Hmm.
You'll know
Yeah.
if you really love it,
Right.
and if you're really in it for the long haul.
Exactly.
And you know, I guess one of the best ways I can describe how much I enjoy what I do is to say, look, we've all been out of work because of the pandemic. We're all stuck at home. I cannot wait to get back on set again, because
Hmm.
I love what I do.
You
So
love it,
I
right?
am just
Right.
very much looking forward
Right.
to going back.
I know exactly what you mean. Exactly. Like for me, you know, I've been working out of the home studio a lot too, but a lot of the television shoots that I normally do have been on hiatus or paused. It was supposed to be in San Antonio, Florida, Ireland, because the planes weren't flying and studios closed and everything. So been working out of the home studio with radio and other work, and you know, doing television stuff, but not really in the studios and not flying anywhere. And then created this 6 weeks ago because, it's what I do and I love the interaction with people. And you've got some great comments coming up here too. JC Henning says, want to know more about your musical roles, JC and Marbury. Want to know more about that?
Oh, well, and she probably saw some information about that. So, okay. Well, that's an interesting thing to bring up. So 2 things have happened this year that just out of the blue have happened and have never happened to me before. One is...
That seems to be the theme of 2020, doesn't it, for us all?
It seems to be the theme of 2020. I booked a big runway show as a runway model. I do not consider myself a runway model. I do lifestyle modeling for, print work for companies, but runway modeling is a whole different animal.
A whole other thing.
So I booked this show and then it was canceled because of the pandemic. And supposedly it's going to be moved to the fall. We shall see. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of up in the air. The other thing on the musical side, so get this, Jim. I sing. I am not a trained singer like for Broadway or anything like that. Right. I was asked to audition for a musical called A Day at the White House with Eric Sirota in New York, and Ben Moriali, who's from LA and he's also spends time in Kentucky. And I turned down the audition. I didn't go because I thought, I'm not right for this. It's not exactly the right age range. And then got in touch with me and said, I want to have you audition. And I did. And I booked the lead romantic role. So I am the lead romantic male role for this. And it's
very cool.
A very interesting thing to have happen. And we have been doing rehearsals by Zoom.
And we say congratulations to Dwight Turner. That's very cool, huh?
And listen, it's wonderful when things happen like that. But you and I both know, it's like it's like this industry is like this, up to down. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. And so it's always a pleasure when things just come out of the blue like that.
And Anne said something which is true, and I'm a big believer in it too. You don't give up. I mean, if you have the passion and you love what you're doing, you'll always find ways to do it and to continue to do it. I've done that for all my years, in broadcast media and more, and you as well. And she's right. She's spot on here when she says, add tenacity, because you really do have to be tenacious, but still be kind, empathetic. Tenacious doesn't always mean just go in and, leave all these bodies. Be kind and care about people and be willing to roll up your sleeves. I've always done that. I mean, I've carried equipment for camera people. I know you try to help whenever you can. It's just the nature of the kind of people we are to roll up your sleeves and want the overall production to be something that is of excellence, right?
Absolutely. And that goes into what I said earlier about family.
Right.
It's like a family.
Right.
And especially, if you're working on a series or if you're working on a film or a project that takes a period of time,
right.
You're with the people on set more than the people that your family or your friends. And so,
that's right.
I think it's really important, kind of what you were just saying, to have a really good connection with people on set, because it makes it all go so much better.
Exactly. And with the audience as well. And with hosting, a lot of times they're the viewers, the listeners, the stage audience, the interaction with the audience and the appreciation of the people that are supporting and watching and following along is also crucial. A lot of times, a lot of people forget that. They get lost in just the trappings of all the things that come with all of this stuff that you and I do as public people, as creative people in our industries, but sometimes they lose sight of those who are buying the tickets, turning on the channel, listening on the radio, showing up at the theater, whatever it may be. And it's very important to remember those folks as well. And I know that you like I do, you really care about that other end of it. That's important, right?
Absolutely. It is very important. Very
important. And Ann says, amen. And she says, definitely kindness to and family. Absolutely. I want to thank you, Ann, and welcome to the show. It's good to have you with us. I want to share some of your work with our audience right now. And then we have some photos as well we can go through, and you can detail what they are. But it's a real delight, I tell you, having you here, Dwight. And you and I have been talking about this for a while. And I told people that I had a list of people. I had Rain Pryor with me, Richard Pryor's daughter. She's phenomenal. We've had so many great people with us. Last night we had Mike Reese, showrunner and writer, producer for The Simpsons. I mean, some really cool people that are amazing in these industries who wanted to hop right on. And when I told you that I was doing this show, the Jim Master Show Live, you were immediate. You were like, day and time, I'll be there. And I really appreciate that, Dwight.
Well, seriously, my pleasure. You do good work. You do great interviews. And so as soon as you asked, I said yes.
Well, I appreciate that. And now let's show some of your extraordinary work here. We have something spooled up. There's a industry term, right? Racked up, spooled up, rewound. We're going to share some stuff right now, and I want people to enjoy some of the work, just some of the work of my dear friend, extraordinary talent, Dwight Turner, brother of Drew. Here we go. A little of Dwight Turner for you on a Tuesday night. I'm going to take us out of the stream, and then we'll show it. Here we go.
It's bad news. Don't stall, Dr. Mayberry. Just tell it to me like it is.
It's not. You are cleared to return to active duty. You mind if I come in? It's about Terry Ann.
All right. I'll be right back. Don't worry, they don't bite.
You got ID?
Back pocket.
Yeah, I want you to take it out slowly and hand it to me.
Are you familiar with the McCoy family?
Yeah, they're my landlord.
You know where they live?
Not in Sparrow Run, I tell you that. Not with their money.
Someone invaded their house a few nights ago and killed the daughter, Terry Ann.
I'm sorry, Detective.
Well, Hopkins comes into my office almost every day to pick up budget updates. I'll tell you what.
And what the chief was planning would give us a DNA sample.
Always on time, I tell you. But if you're ever late, I know that's when I need to start worrying about those budget updates being in trouble.
Call Detective Gall.
We got him. What's this?
That looks like bleach.
They're saying she OD'd by the side of the road.
This is about the murder of one of the ladies who works out here.
We don't know anyone or about anything. So if you're not charging me, I got places to be.
Okay, if we don't catch this guy soon, he's gonna kill again.
And what are we supposed to do?
So we shake things up a bit. So from these two murders,
We've got a zone.
I am going to lose everything.
Again, I'm sorry, John.
I don't understand how we got here. All of this over a conversation and a text message?
Looks very familiar right behind me. Really cool stuff. And when I previewed that, when we were putting the broadcast together today for our audience, I mean, I've seen you in a lot of those roles, and you've got it, Dwight. You really, you know how to really just sink your teeth into the roles and become the character, and you're so convincing and persuasive. And the feedback that you get from people, of course, you know, we always, I love the feedback that we get from the fans, the viewers, the listeners, the people who buy the tickets, the people who show. But sometimes it's always hard to get, or harder to get, the adulation, appreciation, respect from the industry, from the peers. So when you do, and I know you have as well, and I've been fortunate too over the years, it's pretty extraordinary. And you've had that happen. You've been recognized by the industry multiple times for your work, haven't you?
Well, I'm always very appreciative anytime, you know, whether it's the public or the industry, to be recognized for doing what they consider as good work. And it really means a lot to me if you know, someone from the industry reaches out and says, we like what you did. I always appreciate that. You know, it's interesting because, you know, as you were playing those clips and I'm watching the clips, and of course, you know, this goes into the whole like watching yourself, which I'm able to do. I know some actors say that they're not able to do it, but when I watch it, I almost feel like I'm watching somebody else, you know, in those scenes, even though it's me, but it was like me being someone else, you know. So it's always interesting, you know. It's like kind of a little bit hard to look at.
Do you have to, right? Do you? I had this conversation with somebody recently on the show about the fact that you know, whether or not you love seeing the work that you do as soon as it's shown. Meaning, like for me, like you do, when I do something creative or what have you, probably with everything I do, I'm all in. I roll up the sleeves and I'm totally all in. And I may look like I'm calm, and everybody says, Jim, you're always so calm and easygoing, and you're funny and you're friendly and you don't create waves, and you come in and like all the blood pressures are lowered. But inside, you know, all the cylinders are firing and the adrenaline, and I'm on and I hear everything and I'm really zoned in. And when I first see things that I've done that end up on television, maybe shows I've hosted or segments I've done on PBS or whatever it may be, or hear anything I've done vocally, when I first see it or hear it, and again, this could be an artist type thing, I usually don't love it right away. It takes time for me to appreciate what everybody else has said. Wow, you nailed it. Wow, it was great. That was spot on. Oh my God, high five, blah, blah, blah. I hear all that, but it takes time for me to allow myself to really feel that adulation or whatever it might be, the response that people have, because I'm still so emotionally connected to what I just did. I'm still in it. I'm still, even though I've done it, cut, I'm still in it. And when it first pops on, I'm seeing it not my eyes like this first, and I'm seeing it or hearing it as everybody else is. So that dissecting I tend to do, which I think is good because it helps you grow and fine tune. But at the same time, everybody else, even in the same room, hey, tonight I'm going to be on this thing. Let's all watch together. I will tell people as we're eating our popcorn, now pretend you don't know me. If I'm not here, you don't know me. Would you be convinced by what I was saying? Would you be persuaded by what I was just doing on television or whatever it may be? I have to emotionally detach a little bit. So I could pull tapes out, Dwight, of things I did 10, 15 years ago and watch them now and fully appreciate what they were saying then under those conditions, with whatever the experience was, experience level, the fact that, you know, the set fell down, a light burst, somebody fell out of a chair over there, and nobody knows what any of that went on, and we still made it look smooth and easy, and there's no dead air. So do you feel that way sometimes too, where there's that shock value when it first comes on? You have to be emotionally detached a little bit from it. Time has to pass.
You know, I watch everything that I do.
I do too.
I know some people don't.
They don't watch anything.
I watch everything that I do. But like, I'm seeing it with a very critical eye.
Me too.
As compared to the audience watching it for the enjoyment of it.
Right.
And also I find, you know, because, you know, I'm an actor, I have my emotions on my sleeve. I found that, like, even when I was watching those clips just now, like some of those intense scenes, you know, you tend to like start to feel like what you're feeling that day a little bit. It starts to come up a little bit, and then boom, it's back to you, and I'm like, oh, you know?
And we're back.
And we're back. But no, I do watch everything that I do because I want to learn from it. I want to.
That's what I do.
To feel. I want to feel that what I did worked well, and if I felt like there was something in there that didn't, how to improve on that. And you know, that word "feel," that's very important to me and my form of acting, the acting that I do. Like, I really, like, when I talked earlier about connecting to a role, like, I really want to feel it and be fully in.
Right. Exactly. So you're fully invested in it. I mean, you've really, but you did say that you do have an ability to detach from it when it's done.
Once it's over, once it's done, and you have to, at least for me, I have to, like, if I didn't, I would feel like it was affecting the next thing that I did.
Yeah.
So, you know, and especially like, let's say, you know, if I were playing a very dramatic role, that is really, you know, I mean, like, and I'm fully vested in that. I'm really feeling that. And then that ends. And let's say if 3 days later, I start, and it doesn't always work that quickly, but if 3 days later I am playing a role that is comedy, if I didn't let all that go, it would totally affect that next role. And you can't have that happen. So you just got to let it go. And also it's with memorization and memorizing scripts and stuff. You know, if you don't let it go, how are you going to sink in the next script?
Right. Exactly right. I want to take everybody, the viewers, through a little collage of some of your work as well. We saw the video, the film, which was nice. Let's take a look at some of the photos, and maybe you can take us through some of these wonderful shots we have here.
All right.
Let's
see what you got there.
Yeah, what our research team has dug up. Right.
Oh, no.
Here's a cool one right here. And if it appears between us, we could just sort of lean each that way, and it'll be, like that. See, there you go. See, we're both still in the shot.
That is, that's out sorcery. And that actually, get this, Jim, that was a project that was done by, I'd never done a project with them before, first-year students at CSUN in Southern California.
Wow, really?
And that premiered at Comic-Con. It went to Comic-Con. It was nominated Best Comedy Film. So that was a really big deal. And they, you know, of course, the students were completely freaking out. It was a really fun role to play. I got VIP'd for an entire Comic-Con.
Wow.
All the parties, all the everything. And I'd never been to Comic-Con before, had no idea what to expect. Boy, was I in for a ride. I mean, that was an experience.
That's cool. It really, really is.
We did a panel for the film, and it's an experience I will never forget.
Here's another
One
one.
of those, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim, that was one of those moments where it's just something that is completely unexpected, where you do something you have no idea in the world that it's going to go to that point.
Right, the impact. And that's pretty cool when that happens, right? I mean, I've had that too, where you come across people who say, you know, I've been following you a few years or listening to you or watching you, and you don't realize the impact you make until maybe you are at a Comic-Con or you're at a birthday party or you're in the supermarket and somebody recognizes you. I mean, I had that once where I was at a Home Depot and there was this nice older couple and they were pushing the carriage, and I have a baseball cap on and maybe 5 o'clock shadow, and we were getting wood or whatever. And then the wife is like whispering and pinching, Harry, you know, I think I've seen him on Harry. And I'm like, hi, you know, because sometimes people are afraid to come up to you, but it's wonderful when, you know, you do get that, right?
Do you want to hear my wildest recognition story? This was when I was living in Santa Monica, and I actually went down to Costco, down below Santa Monica, and I had pictures developed, and I went to pick them up, and the girl that I was picking them up from said, "Are you on TV?" And I said, you know, I mean, like, yeah. And she said, "Were you on 1,000 Ways to Die?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh my God." And I said, "Did you see my pictures?" You know? And she goes, "No." She goes, "I recognized your voice."
See, right.
So she heard my voice.
We forget about that too, that the voices also give away.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's a cool experience. You know, it's funny when I, maybe it's the years of doing radio, when I call somebody or when I answer the phone, sometimes people will pause and they'll wait, you know, say, "Jim speaking," and they'll pause because they think I'm an answering machine. I'm like the voicemail person. Like, no, it's Jim's really here. I had a time which was really cool. You'll appreciate this. What did you say?
Oh, I was going to say, well, you do. You have a fantastic voice.
Appreciate that. I was at a Walmart, and there was this this young girl that was at the register, and she kept, again, wanted to approach, but didn't necessarily. But she said, "Sir, can you come over here? Could you come over here?" So I, pushed the carriage over, and I thought that maybe, there was a reason why. Maybe I had to go into that line or something because it was express or whatever. And I said, "Yes, can I help you?" She goes, "I want to check you out." And I'm like, "What?" "I want to check you out." What are we talking about? Okay, well, you want to check me out? I appreciate that. I said, "You want to check me out?" She goes, "Oh, I actually want to check you out. I want to scan your items so I can tell people I scanned your items." I said, "Oh, so that's what you mean by check me out." That stuff like that is, you can't script that. That's the beauty. That's the gravy, the icing of all this work that we do. And it's, speaking of work that we do, here's another one that I want to share with our audience. Tell us about this right here. Signing off.
Okay, so that actually, oh my gosh, you're going back.
Yeah, I do my research.
Yeah. So this is a project that I did at USC, and that was, oh my gosh, that was, I worked with Josh Ventura on that. He's gone on to do some interesting things. I did that project. So I auditioned for that project. I had a skiing accident and it hurt my knee, and I did that project while I was still healing from it. And every time if I go back and I watch a clip from that or a scene from that, I just remember, like, I just think about that knee and how that hurt at the time. It's fine now, but boy, did it hurt at the time. And, getting back, talking about the acting again and what we do, I just really used it for that
Yeah.
role. Like I used that feeling and all of that and just put it into the role and made it work.
Which is beautiful, which is beautiful. Yeah, we're going back a little bit here in time. All right, here's another one. People might know about this one too.
Oh, Murder Comes to Town.
Mhm.
That was filmed down in Tennessee, and that was it was an interesting experience. I enjoyed it. It was filmed out on this beautiful farm, but man, was it creepy. Like that, just being out there in the middle of nowhere and doing these scenes. It wasn't too well. It wasn't too far of a stretch to feel those feelings because the surroundings were put you halfway there.
Right, exactly. And here's another one here that'll take us back a little bit. How about that one there? Yeah, huh?
This is from a stage show, a stage production called Ko Lang Syne in LA. That was done in Hollywood. And I actually, sometimes you do a project with people, you're all, family during the project, and then you say your goodbyes at the end, and you may keep in touch and wish one another happy birthday from time to time. I have become very good friends with Sandra Papuro, who is in the red dress on the left of that photo, and we have kept in touch all these years.
That's amazing. That's cool. And that's great when you get a chance to do that, right? Keep in touch with people. And sometimes even, in our industry, sometimes you work with people again. Tell us about this one. That's a cool shot.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That is a project called A Perfect Gentleman. And that was filmed, I'm trying to remember, is it called the Wrigley House? Over in Pasadena. It's a famous house. And it was a fun project to do. And I just remembered loving it because of the historic setting of the home as well as the costumes. I mean, it was a period piece.
What was your role? What were you there?
Now, my role in that one, I played the friend of the guy that you're seeing on screen there. And we were the guy who had the lead role in that production ended up being a murderer. And we were watching him go up the stairs with a young lady cavorting, and that was the look that you were getting from me, like I know what you're up to.
We saw that show. It was very entertaining. J.C. Henning.
Why, thank you, J.C.
And also Maggie Perry's Music says hello from Tennessee, and Marianne Kelly. Great range and assorted clips. And Beth Price, who's watching on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV, says loves the police roles that you were in.
Well,
so
thank you, Beth. Jim, it's interesting because I did not start out to play all these detective roles. It's just kind of happened. It's one of those things where you play one, it works, and then you go on to play others. And but I like it. I mean, it's been very enjoyable.
Absolutely. Here's another one for your edification. How about this?
Oh my gosh. Actually, the lady that I'm working with there, she has gone on to, oh my gosh. Oh, I feel bad. I'm drawing a blank right now on the name of the film, but she's gone on to do some pretty cool stuff. Let's see. Let me look through my notes here. I'm trying to remember. Oh, The Spirit of 76.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That one was The Spirit of 76. And so I was playing a political role in that one. And and that, that was filmed actually in Malibu, and we had this magnificent home overlooking the ocean. And
Really?
you don't really see all that
No.
in the in the project itself.
Right.
But that's, I just remember thinking like, it's beautiful.
Sometimes the locations can be really very delicious locations. Here's another one here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was Evil Talks, Chilling Confessions. I went to New York to film that. Now, a very interesting thing about that one is that dealt with a murder that took place outside in the woods, and there wasn't supposed to be snow. And when I went up to New York, they had this snowstorm. Okay, it was absolutely beautiful. But there was a snowstorm when there wasn't supposed to be snow. And so they got out there with blow dryers to blow dry away the snow. And I remember it was so cold. And the poor girl who, I felt so bad for her, who was playing the murder victim. She had to lay there scantily clad on the cold ground while we filmed scene after scene. And I just kept thinking to myself, okay, let's get it right so that she can go in and be warm. Now they put a blanket over her. They gave her hand warmers and stuff in between. And I asked her, I said, is this okay? Are you okay? And she said, you know what? She said, it's a good role. I'm fine. So she was happy with the role, so she was good with it. But I just remember how cold it was and how there was all the snow.
So is that what you're looking down at? Is she laying down? She's laying down there?
Exactly. Yeah. We're looking down at her laying there on the ground. And in the scene, and actually, in the scene, you don't see all the snow. They did it in a way so that it doesn't look like there's lots of snow, but it snowed a great deal. And I just remember, I decided to drive because I wanted to see some things along the way. And I hit that blizzard coming in, and I was just like, okay, this is how it all ends. This is it.
This is it.
Boom. This is it.
Over.
I'm not going to make it to the show. This is it. This is how it ends. I'm stranded on the side of the road and frozen in a blizzard. Yeah.
And well, that happens sometimes. People don't realize all the work that was into it, because a lot of times, you can be on sets, like you've done commercials too, and obviously film and television. And I've been on sets too, where you're up against the clock, but you're also up against weather, and you're up against the sun setting, because the shots have to match. You can't have it where it's 2 o'clock and then all of a sudden it's 7 o'clock and the lighting isn't matching. That's a big consideration. Yeah.
And I've done some projects where they had to hit magic hour. You know what that is, right? There's a very specific time frame where the light is what they're wanting for the shot, and so everything's got to fall into place, and they've got to get it.
Exactly. Here's another one here.
Oh my gosh, that is that's a series that I did for. It's a training series for people who are studying like particular legal and business things, and I went up to Chicago for that. And it was interesting because it's one of those situations. Like I had situations in my career, luckily, where you work with a studio or you work with someone and they like you, and then they bring you back for other things. And that was a situation with this studio up in Chicago. They've brought me back several times.
See, that's what's great too. And sometimes you are brought back, and you do good work and you do what they need, and you just do the right thing. Production companies and casting people will bring you back. I have found the same thing, so I can understand what you're talking about. It's just the way you go about it, and that can be wonderful. You can end up working with people for period of years on a variety of different projects, which is really great.
Absolutely, and I'm always appreciative when that happens.
Absolutely.
There's an upcoming
That's a
project
cool
which
one.
hopefully it's not going to be killed by COVID, where now it's kind of in question, but where I'd be working with a production team that I've worked with a couple of times in the past. That was, oh my gosh, let me think. What was the name of that project? True Colors. True Colors, which was based on a true story about a lady who wanted to grow natural cotton, and the farmers were very upset because the type of cotton she was growing was different than the type of cotton that they were growing. So she had to go through this whole process, but in the end she won out, and therefore today we can have garments made with this natural cotton.
That's amazing. That's a great story too. Here's another cool shot. And of course, that's Chicago Fire.
That's Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
And Yuri was just fantastic to work with. When they killed him on the show, I was like, oh no, no.
It's like killing a friend.
What's that?
It's like killing off a friend. You don't want him to go.
Exactly. But he was fantastic. And while we were waiting to go on to set, they have a bar set up there that looks just like the actual bar in Chicago where they had first started filming, and down to every detail. I mean, you walk in and you feel like you're actually there at the bar. And we sat in there, and he had a magazine with him, and he could have just been reading that magazine, but no, we sat and we talked, and he was just the nicest guy. And that's what I'm talking about, like where you develop it, even if it's just for a period of time, people when they're really nice and it's like a family and everybody's supportive of one another, it's just fantastic.
It's the best. Here's another cool shot, Dwight, as we go down memory lane.
Let's see. That is from Betrayed. That's from Betrayed.
Yeah.
It's like, luckily I've done enough work that I have to actually think for a second.
That's what I was thinking as you were saying, okay, now what is that from? Let me look at my notes. That means you're busy, which is a very good sign.
Yes, it is definitely a good sign to be busy. And I'm very thankful for being able to continue to be a working actor. But Betrayed was filmed in LA, and I actually I enjoyed working on that, and there is another show that I did. I'm drawing a blank on what the name of it is right now. That was filmed in that same studio, and that's always an interesting experience. I'm sure you can relate to that too, Jim. Whenever you're somewhere and you don't know if you'll ever work at that studio again, and then when you go back and you work on another project, it's under different circumstances, but it's kind of like that familiarity of going back to that same studio.
Sometimes the same crew is there, the same lighting people, the audio people, maybe even the makeup artists. They're all the same, and they're like, "Hey, it's good to see you again. It's good to have you back." And that's, again, it's a wonderful thing when that happens, and very blessed and lucky when that happens as well. Here's another cool shot for us as we take you down memory lane here. There we go. So this is, I feel like Ralph Edwards, and This Is Your Life. Another host.
Oh my gosh, that is a project that oh my God, that goes way back. And what this
it wasn't a late night party in college.
No, it was not a late night party in college, but it kind of felt like it. Because it was the story about the serial characters. I played Trix the rabbit. And there was Count Chocula and Tony the Tiger, all these different characters, and it was sort of like what happens to these serial characters after they develop an addiction for milk.
And
so it was a dramedy. But that was certainly an interesting character to play. I felt like some demented Playboy bunny.
I was going to say, you have great range, Dwight. There's another nice one.
This was a project. Oh my gosh, this guy wanted to take this project to a series, and it just never happened. So we did the original project, but it was called and it was
say that title again, because you got cut off there a little bit. Say that title again.
Oh
yeah.
iScan.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
And it was an interesting concept that this guy had come up with of you can lose years of your life by gaining monetarily, and so the trade-off. And yeah, it was an interesting concept. I would have it was a concept that I would have liked to have seen, because I like sci-fi.
Right.
And I thought the concept was so interesting. I would have liked to seen him take that farther. But as you know, in this industry, sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't.
Right, exactly. And sometimes it happens when you least expect it too. Sometimes out of the blue, the phone rings and you're like, and sometimes you have it where, can you pack a bag and be ready in, 12 hours or 3 hours, and you got to roll with it. You got to jump.
Yes, and you have to love to travel, and I do. So,
yeah.
I mean, in the past year, I've worked in, year and a half. I've worked in New York, Tennessee, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Ohio, Kentucky, and if we go back just a little bit farther, LA.
From sea to shining sea, basically.
But I'm the type of person, I love to travel.
So it works.
What's
anything? I was going to say you've gone from sea to shining sea, basically. That's a great freeze frame of you.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it.
Anything international? Anything in Canada or?
Am I still frozen?
You were like, it was a great shot.
No. Am I still frozen on the screen?
No, you're moving. It's a little delayed.
I would love to. Okay, got it. I would love to work in Canada, but it's not as easy as working in the U.S. In Canada, there are different rules, and it's easy if you are a Canadian citizen. It's a little bit harder if you're an American citizen.
Yep. And here's another one. Ooh, that's cool. That shot there. Wow. It's a group you're with there, huh? Recognize that one?
God, that is going.
It really goes back.
Wow, that is the TV movie RX, and that actually, oh my gosh, that's going back far enough to where that was when I was still nervous when I would come on to set. I remember that. I remember feeling all those butterflies in my stomach.
Sure.
And the actress there, the blonde actress, she went on to star in one of the Species movies.
Do you still get the butterflies every once in a while? They do say that having the butterflies, even if it's something that you've done a million times, is a good thing. And I still get them too when it's like a big project. It means that you still care about it. You're still striving for excellence. You still have passion for it. And when you lose those butterflies, then maybe it's time to go on to something else, because your emotional and your investment in it, your passion for it isn't what maybe it once was. You still get the butterflies?
I still get the butterflies, but it's not the same. Like
not debilitating.
Butterflies now are, it's like I don't feel scared like I did when I first started out. Now the butterflies it's sort of like energy, and that energy plays into what I'm doing, and I use that energy. And that's something that I learned over time, whereas in the beginning, you know, you come on to set and you're just like,
And then you're
you know, like I worked with, to give you an example, like I worked with a guy on a show, and all he had to do, he had one line, and he had to come in and just hand me a folder. And he was so scared. He was literally shaking, and he kept dropping the folder. And so the director pulled him aside and said, you know what? Just take a deep breath and just calm down. And those are the type, but see, that was the first thing he'd ever done. The first time he'd appeared on television. And so remembering going back to when I first started out, yeah, you feel scared because there's so much that's unknown. And then, you know, after a while, you know what to expect.
You know what to expect.
You become very comfortable with it. The camera becomes your friend. The person that you're working with, you know, you gel with them, feed off of one another, and
support each other.
Support each other. It becomes a dance. And so I guess the long answer to your question is yes, I still feel the butterflies, but now I feel them in a very constructive way.
Exactly. So when you have the script in your hand, it's not like this anymore.
It is not.
That's gone. So anybody that wants to do these careers like we're in, don't worry about it. Over time, you understand that those will go away, and the butterflies turn into. Well, maybe we should say, I don't know why they call them butterflies. Maybe they should be moths in the beginning, and they turn into butterflies, right? Because butterflies are beautiful. It should be moths in the pit of your stomach in the beginning, and then when you learn and you calm and you get fine-tuned, they become butterflies.
I like that.
I just started something. Write that down. I just thought of it.
Yeah.
Here's another shot here.
This is so now we're getting into some commercial work. So this was for Lexington Clinic, and yeah, they did two big commercials last year, and that was one of them. And it was interesting because we actually filmed at Lexington Clinic. But you know, they're getting into the commercial work. There was another commercial I did where we actually filmed in a live operating room. Remember them telling us, like, don't step on this because you'll cause the X-ray machine to go off.
Right. I know what you mean. I had a TV shoot a year ago, and it was actually a cosmetic surgery place, and it was in Pittsburgh, and we had to go in and actually observe. And the person, it was a woman actually that was having a breast augmentation and other things happening, and the doctor was the feature of it, and she agreed to it because it was a learning type situation. Everybody was being educated by it, but you know, you have to really, and when they start the cutting and this wasn't.
Oh my gosh!
It wasn't.
You mean you were in the room while they were doing it?
It wasn't TV blood. It was and we're like, so. I did everything I could to psych myself out to say, this is part of the project. This is a production. You know, there are other things that could be worse. I could be ill, or I could get hit by a car walking on across the street. I was trying to think of other things that could be worse that I was seeing to psych myself out to be able to continue to do what I had to do as the host and the on-air person. But it was really an experience. We were in the OR, we had the scrubs. I mean, it was the real deal. And it was a learning experience. It really was. Fortunately, we didn't have any lunch or anything right after scheduled. There was no craft services scheduled, you know, because that wasn't going to happen.
Nothing red.
No. Yeah. And pass on the juice and no tomato soup, please. So great shots we have here. And again, you know, this is something that, again, is near and dear to your heart. You love what you do, Dwight, and you've been doing it for a good number of years. You picked up those bootstraps and moved Kentucky to LA. You've done all this great work, you know, from coast to coast and beyond, all different kinds of roles, all different kinds of situations, collaborating and creating with so many different people at all different levels of the industry. Including, you know, from theater to film to television and commercial work, industrial work.
And voiceover.
And voiceover as well, which is another wonderful area. I narrate as well, like you do too, and it's a beautiful area. Audiobooks and animated characters. When you look at all of this, what are some of the things that continue to bring you, Dwight, the greatest blessing and joy out of the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis?
I think that there is just, for me, just something fulfilling about revealing a character to the world, about telling a story. I mean, I think that that's something that has always been in me. I've always enjoyed doing. I didn't really have to develop that. I like people.
Right.
I like and I like telling stories. And what we do as actors is really a great way to do that. You know, whenever a role comes to me, I really enjoy sitting down and trying to figure out that character. And then once ding, 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 you know, the bell goes off as, okay, I've got it. I understand this character. I understand this role. I just love that. And I look forward to it each and every time.
I would imagine too that you also, as you take on these roles and these different characters and these different scenarios and scenes and locations, working with different directors, different producers, different visions that people have, that you're also learning continually about who Dwight is through this process. You're learning different elements about yourself. Oh, I didn't know I could go there. I didn't know I could really do that. Or I wasn't sure I was going to be able to, you know, carry that through, or just different things that you're learning through the craft. Because I do the same thing in my work, even when I do, you know, interviewing is one of the hats I wear, literally. But sometimes I ask questions for the, you know, empowerment and inspiration and knowledge building for the audience. But I'm also asking questions for myself. How did they handle that? What made you go in that direction? So when you did that, what brought you there? Because I'm also asking, because I'm learning along with the audience as well. So I'd imagine as you're taking on these roles, you're also learning about elements of yourself continually and expanding on who you are as Dwight Turner, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes, Jim, it can be really unexpected. I mean, I know that, you know, there have been situations and roles that I played where just it goes in unexpected direction, and you just go with it.
Right.
And they love it and they end up using it. It wasn't it wasn't scripted that way. But it ends up working.
Yeah.
And
when that happens, does that happen, you think, because elements of who Dwight is have been interjected into it subtly, and that's what creates that magic?
Well, you know, you actually hit on something there. Okay. Yep. Because when I play a role, I did this in the very beginning, but what I found out really works for me is if I approach that role as somewhat of Dwight, but in the circumstances of the character. So I don't approach a role as trying to be someone else or trying to be something else, because I want that role to be as real as possible. So I approach that role as, here is this character. How do I relate to this character? And then I work on those two various elements, character Dwight, And I keep working on that until I hit a point where I basically become that character for that role while I'm playing it. And I find that that's what works best for me as compared to just saying like, oh, like I need to play this detective. And so I'll just forget about me and who I am. And I'll just go and work on becoming this detective, which in real life might be different than I am in person. Now I look at how to bring those two together so that there's at a certain point there's a fit, and you know, it seems to work well. But for me, but you know, you mentioned you were talking about unexpected things that happen. I mean, I think also, Jim, sometimes when you're acting with another person in a scene, they may suddenly do something or bring something to it. And if you are fully in that moment, you react to that in a realistic way if you're really in that moment. And there have been moments that, like, I unexpectedly came to tears, you know, full on tears, which they ended up using, because of what was brought to me in the scene, you know, and you feel those emotions and you just go with it. And believe me, if it's not right or if they don't like it, back to one. And
then it's going to be, cut. And let's everybody back to where you were. And let's, so any folks that are you would love to work with, collaborate with, anybody that, you know, there are any things that are, there you go. That's, it's all full circle. Everything is always full circle, right? And bucket list as well. Bucket list in terms of things that you still haven't tackled yet that are always in the back of your mind, like, gee, I would love if this came along, or I would love to work with this.
I mean, I would love to do like a, oh my gosh, so how amazing that would be. You know, I'm a big fan of both Star Trek and Star Wars. I love science fiction, and so that would be a real dream to be a part of that. I also love Harry Potter. You can see I kind of like these science fiction fantasy movies, but I also love really hard-hitting, really good dramas. And whenever something like that comes my way, I just, I mean, that's like, that just feeds me.
Would you say that the drama, if you were to have a, you know, a teeter-totter, a seesaw, pendulum, how much drama, how much comedy? Do you like the drama more?
I also love comedy. But if you know, it's hard because I do both. But I will say that I love a really well-written, really hard-hitting drama. But you know, at the same time, I mean, I also love a well-written comedy. With comedy, it really needs to be well-written, because you cannot, I mean, you can't have a badly written comedy, and you're going to have a tough time making that work.
Right, exactly. So you mentioned the pandemic, and of course, you know, everything has come to a stop in many areas for a lot of people. Things are starting to slowly open, and, you know, treading lightly, making sure everything is safe and everybody's okay. We've gone through extraordinary things. I say it all the time. I've said it even on the Jim Masters show here. I think the only people that could have scripted all of the things we've experienced in the last couple of months, from the pandemic to the economic to the societal unrest, all of it would be things that are scripted by either Steven Spielberg or Stephen King. It's been so extraordinary. It's been so unbelievable. And when you look at it all,
there I am.
There you are.
I lost you for a moment.
As soon as I said Stephen King, you went into a black hole. How perfectly. You timed that. You're amazing. How'd you do that? It's like a Twilight Zone. I tell you, you take great direction.
I do all I can.
Stephen King, whoosh. Steven Spielberg, black hole.
Oh, Steven Spielberg, boy, would that be? Yeah, that would be a real thrill. Are you kidding? Yeah.
So, and it seems like we've been living through something that they would have scripted.
It's been a crazy year. I mean, it's just the year started off really well for me.
Sure, yeah.
And then the pandemic happened, and everything would just
the world stopped.
Canceled, got full stop. And so, I know it's not just me, and it's not even just my my industry.
Right.
This is affecting so many people, and I know that the world hopes that we can get back to living our lives.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, even in my professional work with other shows I host, I almost don't hope we return to normal. I hope we go to better. I hope we come out of this better. We rise from the ashes through all this better, with more kindness, empathy, more collaboration. We listen to each other more. We want to hear, less divisiveness and more excitement about life, because we were already social distancing by having our heads stuck in our cell phones, everybody just stuck on social media, and we were already becoming distant. And now that we've had to be doing social distancing, everybody's gotten a real taste of it and nobody's liked it. So maybe we're in some sort of a reset, reset of humanity, where we can really take this and run with it in a beautiful way for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah, well, people find out what it's like in some of these cities when there aren't multitudes of cars driving around every day.
Yeah, right.
People are finding out, what it's like to work from home and to be able to do that.
Yes.
People are finding out how much they really miss and need human connection.
Yeah.
I know for me, as a person who loves people, and I'm a people person. It's just, I always have been.
Me too.
It's been hard to be stuck at home, and I love to travel. And I not being able to travel, I have been to 23 countries in every state in the U.S. now except for 2. And so as someone who loves to travel and being stuck at home, that's been very hard. So, I am just really looking forward to the day when we are all able to go out again. We don't have to worry about masks. We don't have to worry about, giving a friend a hug. We don't have to worry about all these things that we have to think about.
Mm-hmm. June, Rachel Sinaspis says better would be much better. Anne says reset and amen. She also says we love Dwight Turner and your show, Jim Masters. Well, thank you. We both thank you in stereo, and in Randy in Nashville, and Renee Katz, who's also a wonderful performer herself. Thank you, Jim and Dwight. So a lot of love here tonight. We really appreciate it. And I tell you, I raise my glass to you, my wonderful friend. And again, I'm so glad that you were able to take the time. This is sort of like, I don't know, it almost feels like you've been on the Merv Griffin show or something, right? Or the Actor Studio, an extended version of, it's almost as if, the way I like to do it is it's not an interview, it's a conversation amongst.
Well, and you're so
friends.
good at it, Jim. You are so easy to talk to, and you make it easy. And so cheers to you for that.
Cheers to you. What do you have in your cup there?
I have some coffee.
You're going to be reviewing some scripts late night? That's going to keep you up.
I got one right here.
Oh, see? He just has, I tell you, you take great direction. You just happen to have it. What is that one?
This is the,
if you're able to say,
that is actually a little bit scary for me, which I mentioned earlier because it's a little outside of my comfort zone. But this is A Day at the White House, which is the musical.
That's the one.
And so working on, all the lines, and then working on the music for that show.
That's cool. That's very cool.
I feel comfortable and good with the lines, but the
Yeah.
music part is the part that, that's the part that's a little outside my comfort zone.
Got to be like a little sharing the dulcet tones. Well, you have the blessing, as I showed earlier, of my Ed McMahon here, Mr. George Burns.
Oh, wasn't he great?
I tell you, huh? How cool is that? And all the cast of characters here. Dwight, a blessing and a joy to know you, my friend. And thank you very much for joining us here again. So many people, I've mentioned this each night because there's a lot of new people joining us. I do this kind of work professionally, as you know, but so many people wanted me to do this in this sort of format, home studio, the whole thing. And this is week number 6. And there were certain people I had on my list in the early part of this adventure here of the Jim Masters Show Live that I wanted to have on the show. And you were on that list. So when you said, hey, you tell me when and where and what bat channel and the whole thing, I was very pleased and moved. So it's a pleasure to have you here. And I hope you come back. The door is always open. You can update us on new cool things you're doing. And it's a pleasure having you with us as always, Dwight.
Well, thank you so much. You just let me know what day and time.
Tomorrow night at 7.
And I will be there for you.
You got a script to review too. Ann says, come on over to Scenic Ridge and we will help you with the music. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh.
And we have Carl Licht. Nice segment with a great human. Carl, we thank you very much. We tip the hat to you as well. And we welcome you to the show. And it's a pleasure to see all these wonderful folks here. Dwight, a pleasure, my friend, a real pleasure. And I thank you for all the time. And hopefully people got a good understanding of who you are and what you do and why you do what you do so beautifully. And we hope to chat with you again real soon on the show.
Well,
and off the show. Jim. Birthday party, all the stuff we go to.
Yes. All right. Thank you, my friend.
All right. You take care. You be well.
Thanks,
keep up the great work. All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. Take care. Wasn't that terrific? He's a class act and a dear friend. And I'm so happy again, he hopped aboard here on the show. And that is Dwight Turner, an award-winning television, film, commercial actor, and so much more. And hopefully you got a good, feel. What I like to do with this show, as we know, it's all about light and levity and love, is give you an idea of who these folks are and why they do what they do. Not just ask basic questions and typical interview stuff, but make it a conversation so we all learn together about these wonderful folks who come on the show. We have guests throughout. There are some nights where we don't have a guest. We have incredible interaction, great segments. We take you on location. We do so much. This is an entertainment lifestyle talk show, 6 weeks here. And it's a blessing on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. I'm here every night with the Jim Masters Show, 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, and 4 p.m. Pacific, tell your friends, share the links, have a watch party. We always have cool people with us. And if you'd like to look at past episodes and great guests and so much more, go to the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you like. And there's some really cool interviews and guests. I want to let you know who's coming up tomorrow night. Another brilliant actor, singer, musician, Paul Green. He is always on the Hallmark Channel, most of the movies on Hallmark, especially at Christmas time. I know him because we've worked together at Carnegie Hall in New York City on projects. Holiday concert specials presented by another dear mutual friend that he and I both have, Tim Janis, and brilliant composer. So Paul is going to be here, and he's going to actually sing, and he's going to play. We're going to talk about some of the projects he's working on. Again, he's originally from Canada. He makes his home here in the States, and he's a wonderful actor, and he's excited to be with us here on the show. Some other great folks that are coming up. As I mentioned, we're going to be taking you to the home of another dear friend, Buffy Ford Stewart, singer, songwriter, children's book author. Her husband, John Stewart, here's a picture from early back with Buffy and John Stewart. John Stewart, a prolific singer-songwriter himself, one of the founding members of the Kingston Trio, and also penned the song Daydream Believer, which, Daydream Believer, the one that the Monkees made famous. He also wrote Gold, which Elvis made famous, and countless songs. So Buffy allowed me for another show that I do in New York, Close-Up Television. We went with the crew and we spent the day. We went to dinner with her the night before, visited her beautiful home, and then we came with the crew and we filmed for about 10 hours. And she loved it so much she didn't want us to leave, and we hated leaving too. We've become dear friends as a result, and that happens all the time. Even through my professional work, we end up becoming dear friends with a lot of the folks I come across, like Dwight and so many of the other, Rain Pryor and some of these other, Mairead Nesbitt from Celtic Woman we had on the other night, all these terrific people. And I love sharing them with you. So she's going to be here, or actually we're going to take you on location to her home just north of San Francisco, her beautiful Spanish style home. And she's going to open up her life to us. And then in a couple weeks from now, she'll be with us live as a guest on the show as well. And then on Friday, we're going to go a little deep with the incomparable Dr. Bernie Siegel. Look up his name. You'll see his credentials are extraordinary. He's a man of great empowerment and wisdom and inspiration. He is extraordinary. He's had multiple television specials on public television. That's how he and I actually met. I interviewed him on PBS during one of his specials a while back. He's an author of countless books. He does speaking engagements, and he lifts people up. He's going to be here Friday night. That's right, another special guest Friday night. Don't forget to join us. Another guitarist coming in a couple of weeks, John LaBarbera. He has traveled the world, and he takes any kind of string instrument you can think of when it comes to especially guitar, whether it's acoustic, electric. He plays even the bouzouki. I mean, this man's a genius. Another dear friend, he's going to be joining us. Actress Clara Francesca is going to be joining us as well. She's going to be here on the 15th of the month. And we're looking forward to that. That is actually on Monday. She's going to be here exclusively on the show. She's all excited. She's a brilliant actress. Saxophonist Mike Casey is going to be joining us as well. He's traveled the world. He's studied in Spain. He's originally from Connecticut. He makes his home in New York. And I tell you, his star has risen quite high in recent months, and it's really cool to see. We saw him with friends as well in New York City at one of the clubs, and he's just really amazing. So is Kip Sturgeon, a brilliant musician too, and another dear friend who is got a heart of gold. He's another brilliant person. So we got so many people. We have so many people coming. Oh, another brilliant actress. She's been in so many different productions, from theater to television, film. Lane Bradbury. Yes, the legendary actress Lane Bradbury is going to be joining me here in just a couple of weeks, exclusively on the Jim Masters Show live. Very excited about that. And also veteran television and radio journalist and anchor. You've seen her on network news. You've heard her on the radio. She's another dear friend. We've been to many events together as well. This is Rita Cosby. And Rita Cosby is also going to be joining us here as my special guest coming up in just a couple of weeks, the early part of July. She's going to be here. I'll keep you abreast of the exact date. Rita Cosby is going to be joining us as well. And that's just the short list, folks, of some of the guests that are going to be joining us here exclusively on the Jim Masters Show. So, as always, George Burns, Jeannie, Silver the dog, Jimmy the clown, they're all here. They bid you a very good night. And as always, you know what I say here on the show, I may be the star of the show as the host, but I think you guys are the real stars. And I thank you very much. It's a blessing and a joy to have you here every night with us. Sometimes, we don't go as long as 2 hours. Usually it's an hour show, maybe an hour and a half. It's only supposed to be an hour show where we have so much fun. It gets extended. But I think you guys are the stars. And we thank you so much. And one last thing that we always do on this show, we say this, and some of what Dwight and I were talking about, so important that you need to do, is relax, breathe, count your blessings, count your joys. Think about the fact that you're here and I'm here. That's a blessing. The sun will come up tomorrow and it'll set tomorrow. The birds will chirp. The tides will come in from the ocean. And life delivers what it delivers. So if you can breathe, relax, Be calm as best as possible. Check in with loved ones and friends. Be creative. Plant a garden. Write that book you've always wanted to write. And be kind and empathetic to one another. Love one another. And again, relax. Again, we picked this up in Newport, Rhode Island. It's really cool. It's got sort of an old 1920s beach scene there. You can see the people. And it's perfect. We love to wrap the show that way with relaxing and counting our blessings, which the last couple of months we realize, all of us, that it's something we really need to do. And I toast you and you and you and you and you. This is your host, Jim Masters, here for everybody, all the cast of characters. Our great guest, there he is, Dwight Turner, dear friend, brilliant actor. We thank him for being with us here on the show as well. And if this is the first time you've joined us, well, we thank you for your wonderful viewership and your support of just watching and telling everybody. I love when you share the links. You tell people that the show exists. YouTube, Jim Masters TV, Facebook, Jim Masters TV, every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can also find me on Instagram at Jim Masters TV and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. Some comments coming in. Kathleen Walker in New York City. Great show. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. JC Henning, every night. Wow, I know. That's quite a commitment considering I work in television radio professionally and I have to do that work too. But I love this. This is really great and getting a chance to chat with you. Oh, my dear friend, Tim Janis. We were just talking about him. He's watching right now. We just worked on a major special that was really beautiful with a lot of our friends, Celtic Heart. And hoping that airs again. That was on PBS and we filmed that up in Maine. Stunning. And I've known Tim for years, interviewed him on PBS, 12 public television specials. His music, really talk about this, about relaxing and counting your blessings. His music does that for so many people. He's extraordinary. A dear friend, he and Elizabeth and Reno, everybody, we love the whole gang. And good to see you here, Tim. And we're working on projects all the time. And we've been friends for years. And at Carnegie Hall, brilliant Carnegie Hall concert he does, which is, I look forward to that every single year with so many brilliant performers. Some you've even seen here on the show, Mairead Nesbitt. We had Celtic Heart special, the Harp Twins. That was a great interview. Paul Green tomorrow night. Tim, we're hoping when he gets his schedule laid out, will join us here on the show as well. And thank you very much. We appreciate all these wonderful comments coming in from YouTube, coming in from Facebook as well. You're a great interviewer. Christine, thank you very much. And again, we celebrate you. You were our Jim Masters Show Viewer of the Week this past weekend. So we continue to raise our glass to you. And let's see. Martha Oliver Swartz says, absolutely the best, Jim. You rock. Thank you for another amazing show. Just keeps getting better and better. I really appreciate that. And as long as you guys are here, that's what makes it so enjoyable. Like Dwight Turner, our guest, said, we really appreciate the people that watch and get something out of our work. And I know that you do, and I appreciate that. Have a great night, Kathleen. Love the star, JC. Yes, I've done this every night on the show. I always say I'm the star of the show as the host, but you guys are really the star. We actually have this hanging up on one of the walls. You won't believe some of the things that have come off the walls at the house just for this show. I should change the name to Off the Wall for the Jim Masters Show. But yeah, we always show that. And I'm glad that you enjoyed that. And again, this is a very interactive show. We've got some cool comments coming in, JC. Amen. Thank you very much. Love this night. June, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. June is a wonderful lyricist in New York City, dear friend, playwright. And we've known each other for years too. And it's great when you have it's like a big family here, isn't it? It's really wonderful. Well, guys, we originally set this out to be an hour, these shows, but they tend to go a little beyond. You know, it really is up to the guest. If we have a guest, sometimes some of the guests want to spend some time with us. We appreciate that. If somebody, has to go quick, then we wrap that up and we do other segments as well. And it's always a blessing, always a pleasure. So thanks for being with us. Again, I'm your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time on the Jim Masters Show Live. A lot of wonderful people from all around the country and all around the world with us tonight and every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And wherever you are around the world, again, count your blessings. It's a real joy and wonderful to have you with us. We're going to wrap up. I'm going to have a bowl of ice cream, some French vanilla ice cream right now. I think I've earned it. And I'm not going to talk the rest of the night. Do you believe that? All right, guys, take care. A lot of light, love, and levity on this show. That's what it's all about. We'll see you again tomorrow night. All right. Thanks for being with us on the Jim Masters Show Live. You're a blessing and a joy. We'll see you then. Have a good night. Bye-bye. And we'll say goodbye once again because there's another comment that came in. And let's see. Yes. I was at work, couldn't tune in, but well, fantastic. You know, we waited for you, Lucia. We waited for you. We usually wrap up a lot earlier than this, but we waited just for you. So now that you're here, that's good. We know that you're here tomorrow night with us. Yum, ice cream. Now we wanted to squeeze in those last few comments. And now that we say thank you and good night, we will see you tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show Live. Love you all. Be well. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.